My name is Forhad Hussain. Let me reintroduce myself. My name's Forhad Hussain. I've lived in the borough all my life in Newham. I've been brought up in the borough. I went to local school. I went to the local mosque, and so Newham has made me. As the leaflets say, I'm made in Newham. I was the councillor from 2010 to 2018, but my politics didn't start when I became a councillor in 2010. My politics came a few years back when I was part of the anti-war coalition, and I was against the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was part of the anti-war marches, and I was proud of the millions of people who marched against the war. I was proud of the people who marched for Gaza over the last couple of years. Those values of peace, equality and justice define me as a politician and defines me now and will define my future leadership. So, I've got some good news, and as everyone knows, the Labour Party has selected me as the mayoral candidate in Newham for the local elections in 2026, and that's big. But I've got even better news. If I win in May 2026, inshallah, I will be the first Labour Bangladeshi executive mayor in the whole country. And that's really important. But what's more important is I will be the mayor for all communities. But that will be a big achievement because personally, because of my Bangladeshi origin, it's something to be proud of. So if I'm elected, I mean, that's going to be a big achievement, but there's a lot of work to be done. We've got a strong team. I'm the candidate, and we've got our councillor candidates in place. But there's a lot of work to be done, and we need the help of the community. We need the help of Labour supporters to come together to send that message of hope in the borough, but also to send the message that Newham Labour is under new management. That Newham Labour has a new leader. And this new guy, who's me, means business. And he's not new. He has experience, and he knows what to do. He knows how to deliver it, and he will put Newham residents first, and that's me, and that's a promise. But we need to get that message out there. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and we are going to have a very tough elections across the country. But Newham is going to be even tougher. In Newham, we have reached a crossroads when it comes to politics, Newham politics. And there's two paths that's going to happen in May. There's one path, that's Newham Labour delivering over decades of service delivery and for the people of Newham. We've seen decades of investment in our schools and our education. We've got the best schools in the country. That hasn't happened by accident. That is a Newham Labour Council delivering over decades. We've invested over decades in the regeneration of our borough, and we've brought in so many thousands and thousands of jobs for our local people. That hasn't happened by accident. That's a Newham Labour Council delivering. We've seen investment in our communities. We've seen investment in our youth centres, in our youth services. That hasn't happened by accident. That's a Newham Labour Council delivering over decades. And that's the path that we need to follow. And under my leadership, we will continue doing that, but we will do things differently by putting Newham residents first. That's a path that we need to follow, because at this crossroads in May, we've got a second path. And that path we cannot follow, because that path is a path of division. That's a path of hate. That's the path of a politics of fear. We've spent so much over the last decades to keep our communities united. We can't afford that to basically break apart. That's why we can't afford to follow that path. We need to follow that path of Newham Labour delivering under my leadership, putting Newham residents first. And that's really important to me. There's a lot of work to do, but I'm very confident that under my leadership and with our strong team, we can deliver. We all put Newham residents first. But the key thing that I'm keen to do is to have those conversations on the doorsteps and having real conversations with them. I have 5 commitments that I want to focus on because I believe that is important to Newham residents. And it's really important to me that we have those conversations and actually deliver. And it's the first thing that I want to see in Newham is I want to make sure we clean up this borough. It's the number one thing that residents are saying. And we've got to take that seriously. So that's the first thing we want to do. The second thing is we need to make this borough safer. And it is the second thing that people say. And we're going to take that seriously. And we're going to take a zero tolerance approach to fly tipping. Enough is enough. We are going to be fining those fly tippers. We'll be taking them to court. And we will be naming and shaming. So it's really important that we take crime and antisocial behaviour seriously. The third thing that we're going to do is have a serious approach to parking. It's a very big issue in Newham. We're going to have parking that basically benefits residents and local businesses. And we're going to have a whole borough-wide parking review. The third thing that we need to do is deliver sound finances. We need to have a long-term strategy around finances. We need to reduce the costs around temporary accommodation, and we will spend every penny wisely of taxpayers' money. And lastly, we are going to engage with our residents and listen to them and empower our residents to make those changes, make those important changes in their local environment. Those 5 changes, 5 commitments are really important to me. The manifesto and the pledges will come out soon, but those commitments are important because they're important to me because they're important to our residents. And I'm confident, I'm really confident that the team that we've got, and under my leadership and with the support of the community, we will deliver. And I strongly believe that what we can do is send a message to those people who want to divide us, who want to spread that hate, that Newham is not the place, they don't belong here. It's Newham Labour that delivers for Newham people. And I'm so confident that if we come together, we will deliver for Newham residents, but at the same time, we will leave a legacy for our residents under my leadership. Thank you for your time. I'm up for questions, and so I'm up for having a conversation with you. You're right, there's £90 million. It was 115 million, but that's reduced. Yeah. So it's now £19 million to be found over 3 years. And it's a big issue in Newham because it's one of the biggest deficits compared to other local authorities. What's really important, and that's going to be my focus, is reducing the temporary accommodation costs. Because 2/3 of that budget, or that deficit, is to do with temporary accommodation. And we need to take that seriously. And we need to reduce those costs first. So there's some policy changes to be done there. But I think, from my point of view, we're in a situation is we can actually find some of those savings around efficiencies. But what's important to me is that we protect frontline services, things like our libraries and our parks, and we can do that. But at the same time, we also need to protect the most vulnerable members of our community. And that's really important to me. I'm confident that in the first year we can find 50 million, but I also know that if we bring investment in our borough, we can actually bring in capital funding to offset the deficit and the revenue savings. So I'm confident we can do that, but it's going to be tough. The first 18 months are going to be tough, but we need to get through this. But I'm confident after the 18 months we can bring in investment into the borough and grow and bring in positive things around community activity and community cohesion. But it's going to be a tough job, but what we need is a leadership that is going to be strong and leadership that can make some bold decisions. My experience of running a council is going to help. I was a chair of the Newham Council Audit Committee for 5 years and the chair of the pension scheme. That kind of financial knowledge is going to be very useful for leadership in the future, and that's what I bring as the potential mayor of Newham in 2026. So in 2018, I basically took a break from politics. That's 2018, but I was still involved. So I was hired by the council for 2.5 years to be a consultant around finances and pensions. So I was still involved in Newham, and I was still involved in Newham politics. But the break allowed me to develop my career. And so I've been working for a company called Attendees, and working on one of the biggest infrastructure projects in the country. And that experience is really important. I'm going to be bringing into leadership into the council in the future. At the same time, I've been doing work around cricket development on the England and Wales Cricket Board, developing cricket across the country, but also outside this country around setting up the Moroccan Cricket Board. That kind of experience is going to be vital around leadership, around managing finances into the role. So I think the break is actually a good thing. But I also bring my experience as a local councillor and a cabinet member from 2010 to 2018, because I used to run the council as the cabinet member around community safety, around the finances, around community cohesion. That experience is going to be very useful in being the potential future mayor of Newham. The first thing we need to do in terms of engaging with local residents is we need to localise the way we engage with the local residents. And what I will be implementing is we'll be using our libraries and our community centres to engage with the local communities of Newham. There will be 8 community neighbourhoods that will engage with the different diverse communities across the borough. But I think what we need to do is also look at our community centres and see how they are run. And I believe Newham Council can't just deliver community centres. We need to get the third sector, faith organisations, community organisations to help us deliver some of those local services. And I believe there's an opportunity to use our community centres in partnership to deliver local services like youth services, like health preventative services as well. But we can do that in partnership with the third sector and community organisations and faith organisations. I also think, and it's really important, it's the way we engage with people we need to change. So we need to stop doing things to people. But if we're going to make changes to the local environment, we need to communicate with them, and we need to have some real conversations. And my view is if we are going to make any changes to the borough or to the area or to someone's area, we need to have community ballots where if the majority of residents want to see change in the area, then that happens. But if the majority of residents don't want to see those changes, then it doesn't happen. So we need some real conversations with residents and listen to them and make sure we deliver for them. Is to really, first of all, change the way we, as I said earlier, engage with our residents. Totally change the way we do it. So we're going to stop doing things to people and we're going to listen to people straight away. We've heard about LTNs, restrictions on our roads, and we've seen changes in our environment. If we're going to do that kind of stuff, we're going to be engaging with our residents and listening to them. That's the first thing we're going to do. But in the first 100 days as well, we're going to have a parking review to talk about. We're going to review how parking is implemented in this borough. We're going to make sure that parking benefits residents and our local businesses. That's one thing that we're going to do straight away. So that's in the first 100 days. But the other thing that I really want to do in the first 100 days is to make sure we have dedicated enforcement officers to deal with the fly tipping issue and the cleansing issues across our borough. We need visibility, and we need to address that straight away, because we need to create a borough that we're proud of. And it starts off by cleaning up this borough first. That's really important. That would be the first thing in the first 100 days. Like I said, budgets are tight, so we need to start somewhere. So we're going to focus on what matters to residents is the basic stuff around cleaner, safer, and the engagement. Those are the things that we're going to start doing in the first 100 days. But as we balance the budgets, in the future, we will look at things like community activities, community projects. We used to have free community events. I'm looking forward to bringing that back. I want to see how we can bring communities together. We need to find, celebrate our differences, but bring communities together based on their commonality, and actually, improve community cohesion. We used to do that really, really well, and I want to bring that. And I know budgets will be tight, but we can look at how those kind of events can be sponsored and how private organisations can support us to do that. But there's a whole lot of work to be done, but that will be my priority, is cleaner, safer streets and the community engagement, and that's really important to me. You mentioned the party. I appreciate that people are not happy with the party nationally and at a local level. My focus as the Mayor of Newham will be Newham residents and promoting what a Newham Labour Council can do and has delivered previously. We have, like I said earlier, we have invested in our schools and our education. We have the best schools in the country. When it comes to social mobility, meaning our young people doing well, we've got the best. It's the best in the country. I want to remind people what a Labour government and a Labour council can do, and that would be my priority, of reminding residents what we can do, and reminding people that Newham Labour and a Labour government is for people. And that's what I will be doing as a leader, as a local leader, and as the Mayor of Newham. My focus will be promoting the achievements of the decades of Labour councils and Labour governments. That's what's really important to me, and I'll be focusing on that. I think the key thing is, and you're right, you know, it's an achievement, obviously, being a Bangladeshi and for the Bangladesh community, but you're 100% right. If I'm the Mayor of Newham in May, I will be the Mayor for all communities, and even for people who haven't voted for me, and that's really important to me. You know, we basically got to listen to all the different views in the borough, because that's really important. My door, this will be unique to any mayor. My door will be always open to everyone, even if you disagree with me. I want to basically have a conversation with you, because that will be very different to previous mayors. My style of leadership is all about empowering, delegation, collaboration, finding a middle ground with people with differences of opinions. So it will be a very different type of mayoralty. And I've also said that if I become the Mayor of Newham in 2026, the key thing about my mayoralty is that it won't be a win for me, it will be a win for the whole of Newham. For the first time, the Newham communities can utilise the mayoralty to make those positive changes in their community, because I'm someone who wants to empower people to make those changes in their local communities, and that mayoralty is there for the first time to do that. And I can reassure you that, because I'm someone in the borough who understands the borough. I've been brought up in the borough, I've walked those streets, I understand how difficult it is for our residents, and I just want to make sure I use the mayoralty to make positive changes in the local community. I want to create as many opportunities as possible, positive opportunities for our Newham residents, especially our young people, because they need that help and support. And I believe under my leadership I can do that. The key thing about that is there's no easy solution for that, for the overcrowded conditions and the waiting lists. The key thing is that we need to build homes. It's that simple. It's fantastic to see that commitment from the Labour government of building 1.5 million new homes. And Newham can play a big part in doing that. There's a lot of land that can be developed. There's a lot of commitment already around the Royal Docks, where we can build tens of thousands of new homes, and I'll be pushing that. But I think we can build more, but we need to have public and private partnerships, basically with developers, to make sure we build. And under my leadership, I want to see pace. I want to see pace with developers and build homes, because if we build homes, we can build affordable homes as well, to support people who can't afford to get on the housing ladder. So I think that's really important. As a mayor, I'm really keen to see, and I talked about local commitments, but the other responsibility for the mayor is about promoting the borough and bringing investment and development. I want to promote Newham is open to developers and investors. Unfortunately, the last few years that hasn't happened, but under my leadership that will happen. And I have that experience of working with organisations like that, And that's that'll be one of my goals, is to basically bring in investment and development. But I will only have one rule for those investors and those developers. I will say, if you are going to work with me, if you put Newham residents first and you invest in our communities, then I want to work with you. And then I want to work with you in terms of the development of the borough. Because I think there's so many opportunities in Newham in terms of land, but in terms of the opportunities around infrastructure, around the organisations that we've got. We've got City Airport, we've got Excel, we've got the Queen Elizabeth line with the new stations, we've got the Olympic Park, we've got West Ham United, in the Olympic Park. We've got so many opportunities, and Westfield as well, so many organisations, and Excel, who can come together and help us develop the borough. But I think we can invite more organisations to come into the borough to kind of improve the borough and make it a fantastic place to live, and a place where people can be proud of, and people can feel, I'm very proud to belong to this area. That will be my focus, one of my focuses as the potential mayor post-May 2026. My focus around enforcement and parking, as I said earlier, I want to see parking that benefits residents and local businesses. That's really important to me. And my view, one of the things that which is inevitable when we see a parking review, we need to shift the way we do parking enforcement, and it shouldn't be a driver for generating revenue for the council. It should be, first of all, if you generate revenue, let's invest that into the roads. Yeah. It should be about just education. It shouldn't be about just generating money. The other thing that I really believe is, in the area, if people want restrictions in their area, then if residents want it, then it should happen. But if residents don't want it, and I know that there's protests, then we shouldn't go ahead with it. And we're going to be addressing that with community ballots. We used to do that when we implemented residents' parking zones. We only implemented it when residents wanted it. If residents didn't want it, we didn't do it. That will be the approach when it comes to areas like Browning Road. But there'll be a major shift in terms of the way we enforce. It's not about enforcing to generate revenue. No, and that needs to shift in my future leadership when it comes to enforcement, because it should be about education. When you talk about housing and the targets, my view is pace, build. We've heard the term "build, baby, build" by the Labour government, and the 1.5 million houses that we want to build. I want to play a part in that in Newham. When it comes to specific targets, I don't have specific targets, but what I want to see is our land being developed, and I want to see public and private partnerships with the developers to come into borough straight away and start building with pace. And under my leadership, I will have teams who will work with developers and develop positively. And like I said, making sure that Section 106 monies and SIL monies are invested in our communities. I was quoted by I think it was the Financial Times once. They came to interview me in Plaistow, and they told me, and it's a quote that just came out naturally. I was told that London is the most diverse city in the world, and then I was told Newham is the most diverse borough in London, and then Plaistow was the most diverse ward in the borough. That meant to me, and I was quoted in it, that Plaistow was the most diverse area in the whole world. And I think it is. Over 200 languages are spoken in Newham. It is the most diverse borough in the country. And we need to respect that. We need to respect the different cultures, the different approaches. And under my mayoralty, I want to make sure all those communities are included, are integrated in the work that we do. We used to do that very well when I was part of the council and the cabinet, where we used to have events and activities in our community centres. We used to have free events, and everyone used to come together to celebrate their differences. And that will be my focus, because my focus will be, as a mayor, I will be engaging with all communities and getting to understand them and getting them involved in what we do at a local level. But also at the same time, I want communities to come together and learn from each other. And talk to each other, because that's part of community cohesion. That's part of integration, and I think it's really important to me. And immigration is a big talking issue at the moment. That's really, as a son of two immigrants. I believe immigration is really important, and diverse communities are really important. And in this borough, in Newham, under my leadership, I will be sending that message that this is immigrants are welcome, diverse communities are welcome, and it's really important to me because in Newham we're lucky. We know there's outside Newham and outside London there are people dividing us. There are people sending messages of hate, and don't actually appreciate those communities. It's so important to me that Newham becomes a kind of a safe place for those communities, and that's why I will invest in all the different types of communities that we have in Newham. But that starts off with investing in our community centres. That starts off by investing in our local youth services, and I think that's really important to me. If we start doing that and create those opportunities, people can come together and connect and socialise, and then that's how we create a borough that we can kind of belong to and be proud of and be, basically.